Today, we're diving deep into AbCellera. Now, this is a company that's, well, it's not just playing in the biotech space. I think it's fair to say they're actively rewriting the rules.
Hmm.
When I think about what they're doing, the analogy that just immediately jumps out is the Tesla of medicine, you know?
That's a good one.
A really revolutionary force using AI, robotics, just pure innovation to electrify an industry that, let's face it, often seems slow, very manual, maybe even outdated.
Right.
And when you look at AbCellera, what's the first thing that really strikes you about their unique spot in this market?
Well, that Tesla of medicine analogy, I think it's spot on.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because like Tesla, AbCellera isn't just making a slightly better version of an old product.
Mhm.
They are fundamentally reimagining the whole process, the entire manufacturing pipeline, in this case, for new drugs.
Right. The whole pipeline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What truly strikes me is how they've gone straight for the Achilles heel of drug discovery,
Mm-hmm.
which is that agonizing inefficiency, the low success rates, that have plagued the pharmaceutical industry for decades. They're not just accelerating. They're fundamentally re-engineering the whole thing.
Exactly. And that's key, isn't it? This isn't just about finding a single drug or, hoping for one blockbuster hit.
No.
It's about understanding a foundational platform, something that's going to power the next generation of treatments across, well, a whole spectrum of diseases.
Mm.
Our core thesis today, really, is that AbCellera isn't just discovering drugs. It's building the indispensable operating system for future medical breakthroughs.
The OS for drug discovery, yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
The underlying infrastructure that's going to make the whole process faster, more predictable, and ultimately way more successful. So by the end of this deep dive, you'll understand why this company really stands out, why it looks like a critical, maybe long-term investment in the future of health. We're going to unpack the whole story, from its visionary founder, the groundbreaking tech, that unique business model, and this data moat they're building, which seems almost impenetrable. And then the exciting catalysts coming up, things that could really reshape their trajectory.
And what's so fascinating here, I think, is how they address those fundamental inefficiencies. Drug discovery, historically, it's been incredibly arduous.
Oh, yeah.
Fraught with uncertainty and just astronomically expensive. This isn't just about, faster screening. It's a profound shift from what was almost an artisanal, often kind of lucky process.
Serendipitous, yeah.
Exactly. To an engineering discipline. It means drug discovery maybe for the first time becomes truly designable and predictable.
Designable, I like that.
Yeah. And that dramatically alters the whole calculation, doesn't it? The economics, the ethics of getting new medicines to patients. The potential here for faster, more effective treatments for really challenging diseases, it could impact countless lives, which is precisely why understanding this matters so much for you, listening in.
It's a true paradigm shift, moving us closer to a future where medical breakthroughs aren't these decades-long gambles anymore.
Okay, so every great revolution, it starts with a bold mind, right? A singular vision. And for AbCellera, that mind belongs to Dr. Carl Hansen, their founder and CEO. Now, Carl isn't your, let's say, typical suit and tie exec you might picture leading a cutting-edge biotech.
No, he's different.
He's a scientist entrepreneur through and through, driven by this almost palpable impatience with how things used to be done.
Right, that frustration.
Exactly. His academic background, deeply impressive. A PhD in applied physics and biotechnology from Caltech. That tells you something right there, doesn't it? He approaches problems with this rigorous, interdisciplinary mindset, bridging that gap between hard science, physics, and biological complexity.
Yeah, that physics background is key, I think. Engineering thinking applied to biology.
Totally. And before launching AbCellera, he was doing foundational research in a cross-disciplinary lab at the University of British Columbia, right at that intersection of microfluidics and immunology. And it was there, back in 2012, that he spun AbCellera out of his UBC research. And it was fueled by, well, a deep frustration. He saw firsthand how agonizingly slow and incredibly inefficient the traditional drug discovery process was.
He lived it.
He lived it. He'd seen promising research just gather dust because translating it into a viable drug candidate, it was this laborious, almost artisanal thing.
Right.
Think about it. Traditional methods involve what he experienced as years of trial and error just to find one single effective antibody. A process heavy on manual labor, luck, serendipity, this painstaking one-by-one approach. And in the face of, urgent medical needs, devastating diseases, Carl saw this huge bottleneck, this systemic failure. And he believed that integrating cutting-edge tech, especially AI and microfluidics, could be the key to breaking through it, to transforming a craft into, well, an engineering feat.
That's exactly right. And if we elaborate a bit on those flaws in traditional drug discovery, it really is, as you said, a decade-long gamble, often yielding, frankly, depressingly low success rates. To give you some context, the discovery phase alone, before a drug even gets near preclinical testing, that can take years, sometimes half a decade, maybe more, of intensive resource-heavy work.
Huge cost.
Huge cost. And even after all that, the vast majority of promising candidates, we're talking over 90%, never make it to market.
90% fail, wow.
Right, which translates to astronomical costs, often billions per drug.
Right.
And, maybe more importantly, a tragic, unacceptable delay in getting potentially life-saving treatments to patients who need them.
Right.
Now, for you listening, it's probably worth defining antibodies quickly in this context because they're so central to AbCellera's mission. These are the body's natural defense proteins. They're exquisitely designed by our immune system to fight invaders like viruses, bacteria, or abnormal cells like cancer cells.
The body's own warrior.
Exactly. They are highly specific, like a perfect lock and key, binding precisely to their targets, and that makes them incredibly powerful, very precise therapeutic tools,
Right.
often with fewer off-target side effects compared to many traditional small molecule drugs.
Okay.
So against this backdrop, this frustration, this inefficiency, Carl Hansen's core mission for AbCellera became crystal clear: dramatically accelerate the hunt for these life-saving antibodies.
Use things up.
Massive. And they aren't just looking for any antibody. They're building what they call a foundry for antibody medicines. This isn't about, one-off experiments or bespoke solutions.
Not artisanal anymore.
No, it's about creating a systematic, repeatable, scalable engine designed specifically to tackle the toughest diseases of, pervasive autoimmune disorders like rheumatoid arthritis or lupus, to the most aggressive cancers, to emerging infectious diseases.
Right.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, the goal here is, well, it's profoundly impactful. Make life-saving treatments faster, more reliable, and ultimately more accessible to the millions who desperately need them globally. It's about transforming that entire pipeline, really, from initial discovery all the way to the patient.
And the proof, well, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. AbCellera gave us unmistakable global proof of their platform's power during, well, the most pressing health crisis of our lifetime, COVID-19.
Yeah, that was their moment, wasn't it?
It really was. They weren't just some small player on the sidelines. They were instrumental in discovering
Adalimumab, right.
which went on to become the first authorized COVID-19 antibody therapy in North America. This wasn't just a success. It was, I think, a watershed moment. Validated their entire approach on a global stage under extreme pressure.
Absolutely critical validation.
And what's truly astonishing, and something we really need to hammer home, is the sheer speed. The speed at which this critical therapy was identified. It was done in an astonishing 90 days.
90 days.
Yeah.
From sample to candidate.
90 days. Think about that. This is a process that historically, as we've just discussed, used to take years.
Yeah.
They did it in weeks. Just to give you a more granular sense of that timeline, within just 72 hours of getting a patient sample from Vancouver, their automated microfluidic system started screening millions of B cells.
Millions in 72 hours.
Right. By day 7, they'd already identified hundreds of potential lead candidates. Then their Celium AI kicked in, analyzed these for key characteristics: binding affinity, neutralization potency, narrowing the field down to 24 highly potent antibodies by day 23.
23 days to the top candidates.
Yeah. And this rapid selection, it wasn't just fast, it was incredibly precise. It allowed Eli Lilly to take one of those leads, bamlanimab, directly into manufacturing and clinical trials, effectively bypassing years of traditional optimization and R&D.
Huge shortcut.
Huge. This wasn't luck. It wasn't a fortunate accident. This was their mission in action, proving, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the platform's incredible speed, precision, and its ability to respond to urgent global health needs. For you, the listener, this is tangible, real world, how their tech directly impacts, even solves global health crises in real time. It's not theoretical. It saved lives.
It absolutely did.
So how do they do it? How does AbCellera pull off this kind of unprecedented speed and precision? We used the analogy earlier. If old methods are like fishing with a single rod, patiently waiting.
Yeah, hoping for a bite.
Right. Then AbCellera has built like a fleet of smart submarines, equipped with advanced sonar robotic nets, capable of surveying the whole ocean floor in a fraction of the time.
That's a great way to put it.
It captures that leap in capability, doesn't it?
Yep.
At the heart of this revolutionary approach, there are two core tech components working together seamlessly. First, let's talk about their microfluidics hardware. This is where the magic happens, really. Extreme miniaturization meets cutting-edge biotech.
Shrinking the lab.
Exactly. They've basically figured out how to shrink a complex multi-stage lab process onto a tiny chip, like postage stamp sized. Imagine this microscopic landscape etched with tiny chambers, where single cells can be isolated, analyzed.
Right.
It's not just about making things smaller, though. It's about enabling ultra-fast single-cell screening. In these picoliter-sized droplets, that's a trillionth of a liter.
Tiny volume.
Incredibly tiny. They can encapsulate single B cells, those immune cells making the antibodies, and then rapidly screen billions of these individual cells. Traditional methods, huge amounts of reagents, days or weeks for each test in big, clunky plates.
So slow, so expensive.
Microfluidics lets them run countless parallel experiments simultaneously.
They're right.
Minuscule volumes, dramatically speeding up the identification of promising candidates. This is how they sift through that immense biological haystack, not just to find a needle, but the perfect needle.
The optimal one.
Right. That single cell producing the ideal antibody with the specific therapeutic properties they need.
Okay, so that's the hardware side, the screening at scale.
Exactly. Then, acting as the intelligent software brain of the whole operation, you have Celium AI.
Right, the AI component.
This is where all that vast, complex biological data generated by the microfluidics hardware gets processed, analyzed, and turned into actionable intelligence. Celium isn't just, a data cruncher.
No, it's more than that.
It uses sophisticated machine learning algorithms to identify complex patterns, correlations, things human researchers might easily miss. It learns from every single experiment, every cell screened, understanding which antibody sequences correlate with high binding affinity, specificity, developability.
So it gets smarter over time.
Exactly. It's effectively teaching itself the optimal design principles for new drugs. This iterative learning process is key to its predictive power, and its increasing accuracy over time. The more experiments they run, the more data Celium eats, the smarter, faster, more accurate its predictions become, creating this self-reinforcing loop of innovation.
The flywheel effect.
Yeah, precisely. Now, to bring this back to life with that COVID example again, as we mentioned, just 23 days after getting that patient blood sample, their integrated platform, the microfluidics, and Celium AI working together identified 24 lead antibodies, ready for immediate development.
Incredible speed.
A process that typically takes years, often involving that painstaking, iterative lab work compressed into less than a month. It really shows the unprecedented speed and precision their integrated system delivers, moving from a raw biological sample to clinically viable candidates with, unparalleled efficiency.
And what's particularly striking here, I think, is their ability to really shine on what are known as hard targets.
Yes, the tough ones.
Exactly. Many proteins involved in disease, things like G protein-coupled receptors, GPCRs, or ion channels, have historically been notoriously difficult for traditional drug discovery methods to target effectively.
Why is that? Are they just complex structures?
They are. They're often embedded in cell membranes. They have complex shapes, transient interactions. It makes finding drugs that bind specifically and effectively very challenging. And these aren't just obscure biological bits and pieces. GPCRs, for example, they're involved in everything from menopausal hot flashes, chronic pain, to a huge array of neurological and autoimmune diseases.
Wow. So really central.
Absolutely. Ion channels, critical roles in cardiac function, pain signaling. The fact that AbCellera isn't just guessing, but is successfully tackling these challenging proteins, that speaks volumes about their platform's sophistication and efficacy.
Right. They're not shying away from the hard stuff.
Not at all. They're harnessing nature's own immense diversity of the immune responses, but doing it with a level of amplification and precision that was previously unimaginable, thanks to their tech. This allows them to explore therapeutic avenues that were previously inaccessible, develop potentially first-in-class treatments for conditions where traditional approaches have just repeatedly failed.
Okay.
And this brings us neatly to the core of their impenetrable moat, that data flywheel we touched on.
Right. This sounds crucial.
It is. This isn't just a buzzword. It's a self-reinforcing competitive advantage. It gets stronger with every single project they do, making them exponentially harder to compete with. Think of it like this.
Okay.
The more drug discovery projects AbCellera partners on with pharma companies, the more proprietary, highly specific data they generate. And this data isn't just raw info, it's structured, invaluable insights into what types of antibodies work against which targets, how different immune responses generate effective solutions, critical parameters for developability. I mean, it covers a vast spectrum: biological targets, disease areas, antibody characteristics.
So a massive growing knowledge base.
Precisely. And this new, unique data, it continuously trains and refines their AbCelleraem AI. Every data point makes the AI more intelligent, its algorithms more predictive, its ability to identify the most effective antibodies faster, more accurately. It's like having this perpetual learning machine. Get smarter with every interaction.
Okay, I see the loop.
Right. This creates a powerful, virtuous cycle. A smarter, more effective platform is inherently more attractive to potential partners in pharma.
Makes sense.
When new partners come on board, they bring new projects, which in turn leads to generating yet more data, further fueling and strengthening AbCelleraem AI, enhancing their overall platform capabilities. This compounding effect means their moat gets wider, deeper every single day.
Right.
So this raises that important question for you, the listener. How do competitors catch up? How do you compete with a company that learns and improves at an accelerating pace with every new deal? It makes it nearly impossible for others to replicate their cumulative knowledge, their predictive accuracy, their technological edge. It creates a truly unassailable lead in this critical field.
Okay, so beyond the tech itself and that compounding data flywheel, AbCellera has also, you mentioned, meticulously built this ironclad IP fortress, intellectual property, around its core innovations.
Very important.
This isn't a minor detail, is it? It's critical. Legal strategic protection, solidifying their market position. There was a significant win, wasn't there? May 2025. A U.S. appeals court upheld a key patent on their microfluidic tech.
That's right. A huge validation.
And this wasn't just any patent. It sounds fundamental to their whole operation. And it was being challenged by Bruker, formerly Berkeley Lights, right? A company in a similar space.
Correct. A direct competitor in some ways.
So that legal victory sends a very clear message about the strength, the defensibility of AbCellera's core tech. This patent isn't just a legal barrier, it's like a strategic choke point, isn't it?
It is, because it specifically protects their ability to isolate and analyze individual B cells in those microscopic droplets at that unprecedented scale, which is foundational to their ability to screen billions of unique cells, high throughput, high precision.
Right, the core of the screening engine.
Exactly. Without that core capability, competitors just can't achieve the same throughput and precision, making any attempt to replicate their platform inherently slower, more expensive.
Got it. And looking ahead, there's another trial, an infringement trial set for January 26, 2026, also against Bruker.
Yes, that's coming up.
This sounds like it could be a major financial catalyst. What could happen here? Are we talking settlements, royalties?
Potentially both. You could see substantial settlements where Bruker pays AbCellera for past infringements, or ongoing royalties for using AbCellera's patented tech moving forward. Either way.
Big financial upside.
Huge. It could significantly strengthen AbCellera's financial position, potentially adding hundreds of millions in non-dilutive capital, and it would further underscore their IP dominance in microfluidics, adding another layer to that already formidable moat.
Okay, this sounds incredibly powerful, almost like an insurmountable lead. But, you know, in a field like biotech, things change fast. There's always a but, right?
Always.
What are the genuine competitive threats? Or potential weaknesses AbCellera needs to keep guarding against, even with this moat?
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
While AbCellera operates in the broader antibody discovery space, and yes, we should acknowledge competitors like Adimab, Twist Bioscience, Bruker themselves, what sets AbCellera apart is crucial. These companies might have strong individual pieces or focus on specific aspects.
Like just library generation, maybe?
Exactly, or specific screening assays. But they tend to lack AbCellera's fully integrated end-to-end platform, that hardware-software combination from sample to lead candidate, high throughput.
So it's the whole system.
It's a whole integrated system. The risk isn't necessarily direct competition copying their exact system, especially with the IP protection. It's more likely, I think, a truly disruptive technology emerging from a completely different angle.
Like what? Gene editing, synthetic biology.
Potentially. Something that tries to bypass natural immune responses altogether for drug creation. However, AbCellera seems aware of this. They mitigate it by aggressively investing in R&D themselves, making sure they stay at the forefront. Their platform is also quite modular, designed to potentially integrate new advancements rather than be totally obsoleted by them.
Okay.
Plus, their specific focus on those tough targets we talked about, GPCRs, ion channels that differentiates them too. These are areas where traditional methods often fail, making AbCellera's success there even more valuable, harder to replicate. But most importantly, it's that comprehensive data-rich ecosystem built meticulously over more than a decade.
It's the flywheel again.
Exactly. Competitors might try to copy individual pieces, the tech, the business model, but replicating that cumulative compounding intelligence, that integrated platform, that's incredibly difficult. It's the whole system working in harmony that creates this formidable lead.
Okay, so if their tech and IP create this lead against competitors, how do they actually turn that into money, into financial success? This is where their business model really seems to shine.
Yes, it's quite clever.
Transforming those innovations into tangible value. AbCellera isn't a one-trick pony here either, are they? Their model seems like a multi-lane highway to growth, structured to capture value at multiple stages.
Diversified.
Right. Spreading risk, maximizing potential upside. They effectively have 3 ways to win, it seems, powering their financials.
That's a good way to frame it.
So first, they generate upfront fees.
Right.
A partner, pharma, biotech, decides to use AbCellera for a project. They pay cash immediately to kick it off.
Yep. Covers initial work, platform access.
Provides that crucial early cash flow, funds operations, R&D, even before any drugs progress. It's payment for access right from the start.
Correct. De-risks things for AbCellera early on.
Okay, second way to win. Milestone payments. This is where the long game starts paying off, validates the science.
As candidates advance.
Right. As a discovered antibody moves through preclinical, then clinical trials phase 1, 2, 3, AbCellera gets more payments at key checkpoints.
Shows progress, triggers cash.
It's a powerful incentive too, isn't it? Aligns AbCellera's success with their partners, provides a steady, validating income stream as discoveries move towards the market.
Absolutely. Shared risk, shared reward structure.
And then third, the grand prize, the real long-term compounding value, royalties.
Yes, this is the big one.
If a drug AbCellera helped discover actually makes it, gets approved by the FDA, reaches patients, they get a significant cut of global sales.
Typically in the 4 or 5% range, yeah.
And critically, these royalty payments can continue for years, right? Decades even, as long as the drug's being sold.
That's right. Patent life, market exclusivity.
This is where that long-term compounding really kicks in, transforming successful partnerships into these like annuity-like revenue streams, fueling future innovation growth. Without AbCellera needing more investment for that specific drug.
Exactly. And they don't have to bear the huge costs of late-stage trials or commercialization for those partnered programs. That's on the partner.
Right. Very capital efficient for them at that stage.
It is. But beyond just being that, let's say, service provider with this great model, AbCellera is also evolving, aren't they, to maximize their upside even further?
How so?
Well, they're now developing their own proprietary drugs, wholly owned programs.
Ah, okay, so not just partnering.
Exactly. This means instead of just earning that, say, 4 or 5% royalty on a partner's drug, they could potentially capture 100% of the upside if their own programs succeed.
Wow, okay. That's a big difference.
Huge. If we connect this back to the bigger picture, it's like being both the toolmaker and the craftsman.
I like that. Toolmaker and craftsman.
Yeah. They provide the revolutionary tools, the platform for others, but they also use those same tools to create their own masterpieces. It ensures they capture value at every stage, from the initial discovery service fee right through to potential blockbuster sales of their own drug candidates. It's a very clever way to leverage their core capabilities, dramatically increase their potential future profits. They can balance that lower risk, more predictable partner revenue with the higher upside, potentially transformational value of their own pipeline.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And the industry validation for their platform seems undeniable, just looking at their partnership.
Oh yeah, the list is impressive.
We're not just talking a few collaborations here. AbCellera boasts over 100 active programs across more than 40 partners. That breadth of influence, it speaks volumes about how widely their tech is trusted, used across the whole pharma landscape. They seem deeply embedded in the R&D pipelines of some of the biggest names out there.
Which is huge validation.
It really is. Let me just name check a few key pharma giants they're working with. Concrete examples. Novartis, for instance, partnered on up to 10 targets. spanning oncology and beyond, that suggests deep trust, right? Multiple programs.
Absolutely, not just a one-off project.
Then AbbVie, another titan, expanding on T-cell engagers for cancer, which are, cutting-edge antibodies
Yeah.
designed to bridge a patient's own T-cells to cancer cells.
Programming the immune system to attack.
Exactly. Incredibly potent, but complex to design, often needing bispecific antibodies. AbCellera's platform seems uniquely suited for that challenge, doesn't it? The high-throughput screening, the AI, identifying and optimizing those complex interactions much faster.
Way faster than traditional methods, yeah.
They also have deals with Eli Lilly, Regeneron, Gilead, Moderna. I mean, it shows their reach across different therapeutic types, different company sizes.
Broad adoption.
And a specific recent example really highlights the power of this business model in action. The potential for hundreds of millions in upfront payments just from AbbVie.
That's serious money up front.
It is. Not theoretical. It shows how much value top-tier pharma places on getting access to AbCellera's platform. And if you look at the financials, their Q2 2025 revenue jumped to an impressive $17 million. That's up 134% year over year.
Wow, strong growth.
And that growth was mainly driven by licensing and research fees, a direct reflection of more and more valuable upfront and milestone payments from these vital partnerships. It's a clear signal, isn't it? Growing financial success, market penetration, proving the model is turning scientific prowess into actual revenue.
And that revenue feeds back into the platform, into their own pipeline.
Yeah.
Back into the flywheel.
Exactly. So let's talk market opportunity then, because their tech and model seem great, but how big is the pond they're fishing in?
Oh, the pond is colossal. AbCellera is situated squarely within the massive, rapidly expanding biologics market.
Okay, how big are we talking?
To give you some context on the scale, this market projected around $487 billion in 2025. And it's not just growing steadily, it's soaring. Expected to hit over $1 trillion by 2034.
$1 trillion. Wow.
Yeah, that's a compound annual growth rate few industries can match. It represents this immense wave of investment innovation. And within this huge market, antibodies are dominant, and for good reason.
Right, you mentioned their success rates.
Exactly. Significantly higher clinical trial success rates, 20–30%, compared to small molecules, which are often around 5%. That higher probability of success, plus their specificity, fewer side effects usually, makes them incredibly attractive to pharma, driving demand for advanced antibody discovery platforms like AbCellera's.
Makes sense.
So this raises that important question for you listening. Where's their sweet spot? Within this trillion-dollar wave, AbCellera isn't just, throwing darts at a board.
They're focused.
They're strategically focused on high-need areas where antibody therapies can make the biggest impact and where market demand is strongest. This includes critical areas like autoimmunity, that's a TAM, total addressable market, over $150 billion. Conditions like lupus, Crohn's, rheumatoid arthritis.
Huge patient populations.
Immense. Plus vast oncology applications, various cancers and endocrine disorders. These are huge, often underserved areas. Immense patient needs, significant commercial potential, where targeted, effective treatments can just profoundly improve lives.
Okay.
Let's take a specific example. From their own pipeline, ABCL 635.
Right, the hot flash program.
Exactly. Targeting menopausal hot flashes. Often underestimated, but incredibly prevalent, debilitating. Impacts millions of women globally. Imagine the reality for these women: sleepless nights, hot flashes disrupting work, social life. A real dip in quality of life.
Yeah, it's a serious issue.
And current non-hormonal treatments, often limited efficacy or undesirable side effects. This market alone is estimated at $2 billion. And the current options, especially non-hormonal ones, are desperately needed by women seeking effective relief without the risks of hormone therapy.
So a big unmet need.
Huge. AbCellera isn't just looking at market size here. They're looking at offering genuine non-hormonal relief to a vast underserved population, significantly improving daily comfort, well-being. This is where their platform can make a tangible difference, beyond just the blockbuster numbers. So, in conclusion on this point, AbCellera isn't really competing directly with big pharma.
They're enabling them.
Exactly. They're embedding themselves within, supercharging these trillion-dollar pipelines, becoming an indispensable part of the future of medicine, enabling, not replacing, the giants.
Okay, that's a key distinction. Now, in business, talk is cheap. Execution is everything.
Always.
And what really seems to stand out with AbCellera is their consistent ability to deliver, to execute on their promises, translating those visionary ideas into real operational progress, solid financial health. They're not just a concept, a promising startup anymore. They're a functioning, scaling enterprise with a proven track record.
That's right. They're delivering.
Consider their operational scale. Around 600 employees now. That's a significant growing workforce dedicated to these ambitious goals, R&D, operations, building the team. And importantly, they recently brought a new GMP facility online. Good manufacturing practice.
That's a big step.
It is. Not a minor detail in biotech. A GMP facility is crucial for making drug candidates for clinical trials and eventually for commercial supply. Bringing this capability in-house, it signals robust growth, operational capability, moving beyond just discovery into development, production phases, shows a clear path to controlling more of the value chain, accelerating their own programs.
More control, faster timelines potentially.
And financially, their strength is equally impressive, gives them a significant safety net. They have a remarkable $750 million in cash on the balance sheet.
That's a strong position.
Very strong. This provides over 3 years of runway without dilution, according to their CFO, Andrew Booth. That financial stability is crucial, isn't it? Allows them to fund long-term R&D, invest strategically, pursue their own ambitious drug programs, without that immediate pressure to raise more capital, which often dilutes existing shareholders.
It gives them flexibility. Strategic flexibility and resilience in a tough industry.
Yeah.
And the progress of their internal drug programs really reinforces that execution ability. Their commitment to that dual strategy, partnering and developing their own assets.
Right. What's happening there?
Well, ABCL 635, the hot flash program, and ABCL 575. They're now both successfully in phase 1 clinical trials.
Into human testing. Big step.
Critical milestone, high hurdle in drug development, moving from preclinical into humans. Underscores their ability to turn platform discoveries into viable clinical candidates. Plus, ABCL 688 is in IND-enabling studies.
Okay. What does that mean exactly?
It means it's preparing for an investigational new drug application. With regulatory bodies like the FDA, it's the crucial step before it can enter human trials. And significantly, it's noted as another GPCR target.
Back to the hard targets.
Exactly, underscoring their expertise there. And ABD 147 is also progressing well through preclinical stages, adding depth to their proprietary pipeline.
So a steady flow of candidates moving forward.
That's the plan. If we connect this to the bigger picture, their commitment seems clear. They're on track to advance 2 new programs into clinical stages every year.
2 a year. That's disciplined.
It is a disciplined, predictable pipeline strategy, providing a continuous stream of potential value, future growth drivers. And this isn't just internal validation. The external validation keeps coming too. Those partner deals, like Novartis's multi-target pact, they aren't just revenue. They're significant endorsements from major pharma, companies putting their considerable resources behind AbCellera's discoveries, showing trust in the platform.
Right. The best kind of validation.
Exactly. They've shown steady, science-backed progress, no major stumbles, which in the volatile, high-risk world of biotech is pretty remarkable.
Okay, so the excitement really starts to build when you look at the upcoming catalysts, doesn't it? The roadmap to what could be explosive growth. There are some very clear, potentially high-impact milestones coming up. Things you'll definitely want to keep a close eye on.
Yeah, the next couple of years look pivotal.
Absolutely. Near term, specifically mid-2026, we're anticipating crucial phase 1 data readouts.
Key data points.
Huge. This includes data from ABCL 635, the hot flash program. We'll get key insights into its efficacy, safety in humans. Positive data there. Could be a game changer for millions of women and a significant value inflection point for the company.
Definitely one to watch.
Also, data from ABCL 575 is expected then, too, which apparently has potential to show superiority to rivals like amlitelimab, especially if it shows an attractive dosing schedule, maybe as infrequently as every 6 months.
Less frequent dosing is always attractive.
Right. Positive data from these early trials, massive validation events, could drive significant investor interest, open the door for out-licensing deals, monetizing that internal pipeline further.
Proof of concept in humans.
Then, looking slightly earlier, into early 2026, we might see potential readouts for ABD 147 and ABCL 688 as they advance further in preclinical IND-enabling development. While these are earlier stage, their progress shows the depth, the breadth of their pipeline, constantly feeding new candidates into the system, expanding future optionality.
Keeping the pipeline full.
Exactly. Then there's that highly anticipated January 2026 patent trial against Bruker.
Right. The IP battle continues.
This isn't just legal, it's profoundly financial strategic. As we discussed, this could lead to substantial settlements, big cash infusion, non-dilutive, or ongoing royalties, a new, durable revenue stream. Strengthening their finances, their IP dominance, it's a high-stakes event, could have a material impact on their balance sheet, market perception.
Potentially very significant outcome there.
Definitely. We also need to consider ongoing partnership expansions, the continued importance of new, expanded deals. Can't overstate it. Think about agreements like the one with AbbVie for T-cell engagers, or ongoing collaborations with Lilly. These deals often come with potential for substantial upfronts, milestones, like that $400 plus figure we've seen mentioned for some larger agreements.
More validation, more non-dilutive funding.
Exactly. These partnerships aren't just revenue, they're validation through continued adoption by the biggest players, cementing AbCellera's role as that indispensable partner.
Builds momentum.
And finally, the longer-term drivers. The eventual approval of their first non-COVID drugs, both wholly owned and partnered. That will ignite those highly coveted long-term royalty streams.
The ultimate payoff.
Right. That's the payoff for years of R&D, strategic partnerships, transitioning the company into a mature, cash-generating enterprise. Now, specific dates are always speculative, dependent on trial outcomes, but by 2030, 2032, if even a few of their, 22-plus pipeline molecules, wholly owned and partnered, succeed, make it to market, the revenues for AbCellera could increase dramatically, fundamentally transforming their financial profile, market cap.
Yeah, the leverage from royalties on successful drugs is immense.
Their roadmap seems clear. Build to 100% ownership on the winners they keep internal, partner strategically on others, all while continuously scaling that underlying platform.
Seems like a solid strategy. So this raises that important question again for you listening. What does all this really mean for the future of medicine? AbCellera's ambitious long-term vision, it's to become that indispensable operating system for the entire biologics industry.
The AWS for biologics.
Exactly. Think about how Amazon Web Services, AWS, transformed cloud computing, became that foundational infrastructure, powering countless businesses. Most people don't even realize it. AbCellera aims for a similar role in biotech. They aren't just one company making a few drugs, they're building the underlying engine. The engine that will power an entire industry shift toward faster, better, vastly more efficient drug discovery.
It's a fundamental shift they're aiming for.
It is. It could accelerate cures, treatments for diseases we haven't fully conquered yet, make medicines more accessible, impact global health on an unprecedented scale. They're enabling a future where medical breakthroughs aren't just possible, but predictable, repeatable, engineered.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive then, it seems pretty clear AbCellera, it's not your typical speculative biotech bet,
Right.
which can be, incredibly high-risk binary outcome.
Right, often all or nothing.
Instead, it looks like an investment in a foundational technology platform, guided by a visionary leader, Dr. Carl Hansen, fortified by that unbeatable compounding data moat, propelled by a trillion-dollar market that's hungry for real innovation in drug discovery. This isn't just about potential financial returns, though those look significant. It feels like an investment in human ingenuity, in the future of health, addressing some of our biggest challenges by building the engine that drives medical progress for decades.
And what's particularly striking, I think, is just the sheer scale of the potential impact on human well-being. AbCellera is building the very engine, as you say, that will power an entire industry shift, creating faster, more targeted, ultimately more accessible, life-saving medicines.
Right.
For diseases we haven't conquered yet, and maybe for diseases we haven't even seen emerge.
Right. Preparedness for the future.
Exactly. Imagine a future where the next pandemic, the next major disease outbreak, can be met not with years of uncertainty, frantic scrambling, but with a rapid, targeted, effective response, thanks to platforms like AbCellera's. This fundamental shift, it holds profound implications for global health, for the economy, ushering in an era of truly engineered medicine.
So, final thoughts. Do your due diligence, of course, always with any investment, but don't sleep on this disruptor. This deep dive, hopefully, has shown you the immense potential here, the robust technology, the strategic vision at play. Invest in the future, it's calling.